Hey my ladies, welcome back to my YouTube channel. We're about to get into a long overdue YouTube video where I'm doing a tell-all of my transformational year of 2021 and what I believe led to such an amazing awakening and series of events in my life. It was literally like, if I could explain it in the most simplistic way, it was basically 2020 and 2021 were like night and day. Hey my ladies, welcome back to my YouTube channel. We're about to get into a long overdue YouTube video where I'm doing a tell-all of my transformational year of 2021 and what I believe led to such an amazing awakening and series of events in my life. It was literally like, if I could explain it in the most simplistic way, it was basically 2020 and 2021 were like night and day. And I feel like a lot of it was due to me setting myself up to focus on LaMonica and LaMonica only. And the way I did it, I feel like started with me saying with conviction that I am strictly focusing on myself spiritually, mentally, emotionally, sexually, financially, in every regard. And I went abstinent for 7 months. I cut off all sexual romantic relationships with men. Not that it was multiples, but that in itself, ladies, focusing on yourself and closing those legs, it will open up a world of opportunity for self-development, growth, elevation in ways that you would never believe. So if you're in a place where you're considering, celibacy, being abstinent, just focusing on yourself for your own specific goals of stepping into this higher version of yourself, then please, this video is for you, because I'm gonna tell you exactly what I did, what led to this awesome transformation, and the transformation in itself and what it entailed in 2021. As you guys can see, I am you can kind of see the bump. I am expecting a healthy, happy baby. I'm at 6 months now. 6 months, so it's getting down to the wire, but I really wanted to share how your life can change in the blink of an eye with you stepping out on faith and with you literally doubling down and focusing on you. Cut out all the noise, eliminate all the distractions, and a lot of those come in the form of men. And I'm gonna tell you the benefits and where it can lead you in the short and long term. All right, so this may be better. Okie doke. So let me start by saying 2021 was my most transformational year of my life to date. My life has always been awesome. To God be the glory. I've had an amazing life. Sorry guys, I'm outside, bear with me. Such a beautiful day in Charlotte. But 2021 was like no other. It was like no other. And I talked a little bit about this in one of my previous videos when I talked about me moving out of the country for a sabbatical last year. And that was actually a part of my transformation as well. This particular year, 2021, I made some amazing strides spiritually, probably most of all financially, romantically, business-wise, physically. My body was the best it's ever been, and I really would love to speak to other women about creating these insurmountable, magnificent changes and what it looks like in order for you to do that, because this could happen to anyone. Like, if I can do this, you can do this. And I feel like a lot of my results and a lot of my progress started with me making the decision and speaking with conviction that I was focusing on LaMonica, right? Like I said previously, focusing on LaMonica emotionally. In any regard, I was not allowing distractions in my life. And one thing that I noticed is that when it came to men specifically, right? Because if you don't know already, I will tell you that I left a toxic on and off 5-year relationship with my ex-fiance, probably like maybe a year before, but we were still in communication, and it was still like a little dipping and dabbing, not sexually as much, but we were still holding on, and the ties were still there, right? The door was still open. But it wasn't until I completely cut that situation off, I completely walked away and cut those ties, that my life started to exponentially elevate in ways that I could have never expected. So that was one. That's a part of the whole abstinence thing, right? With cutting my attention to men off. Oh, the light just popped on. In between that, I had guy friends, and I was dating, and I had a little boo or so. So in December of 2020 is when I decided to end all like romantic relationships in the form of like boos, texting guys, meeting up with them. And I only had maybe like 1 or 2 little guys that I was texting or whatever. And for me, like, if y'all know, I'm not a sneaky link type of person. Any guy that I dealt with, we were always working towards something. There was longevity there. Like, we would go out all the time. I met his family. Like, we were public. Like, it was that type of situation. But it takes a lot of energy, mentally, physically, emotionally, to carry on and nurture relationships, period, right? Whether platonic or romantic. So it was hard for me even now to conceptualize how people have all these multiple people that they talk to, because I don't have time for that, or the desire. Like, I am building an empire, a dynasty. I don't have time to be texting Tom, Dick, and Harry about how my day went, what you got going on, when. No, it's not in the cards for me, because a lot of these relationships, when it comes, and this is from me seeing friends, girlfriends, peers, and the like, it's no real ROI on most of these relationships and situationships, or whatever you want to call it, that women have with men. And a lot of them are based solely and focused solely around sex, which in itself, for me, like, I'm not a very sexual, well, I'm a Scorpio with a sexual sign of zodiac, but me personally, on a personal level, because I can only speak for myself, I'm not a very big sexual person when it comes to sharing my body with a lot of people. So it wasn't a big deal for me going into this abstinence journey of 7 months, which I'll talk a little bit more about in a second. But people don't realize what comes along with having sex, even if you're just specifically dating one person and you're having sex with that person. As women, we are emotional beings. Now, men, on the other hand, men can have sex all day long and won't think nothing of it. And I don't care if you're a woman, you have emotion when it comes to sex. Because you'll have these women be like, oh no, he just for a nut, or he just my sneaky link, this and that. Girl, please. Women become possessive, territorial, and emotionally tied to men they continuously have sexual relations with. And a lot of that energy, because sex is the biggest energy exchange with a person that you can possibly have. And a lot of us as women, we indulge and we participate in this exchange with nothing in return. That little 20 minutes did not be worth it. That's the thing for me. Like, it's not worth it, right? It comes with what? Emotional turmoil. It comes with you now getting into it with other women, you blowing up his phone, asking him where he at, you having to feel like you being used, so you asking him for money now. And if he didn't text you back or call you back like yesterday, now you all up in a frenzy talking to your girls, and now you like, I need a drink. And why would you set yourself up for that? And that's just something that's nothing I ever partook in as far as those details, but I'm just using that as an example. But it's just emotions come along with it. That's the point that I'm making. And it's an emotional transaction that doesn't need to be placed. It's very expensive emotional transaction is what I'm saying. And once I made this decision in December of 2020 to just stop having sex, which I wasn't really having a lot of it, but it's just what comes with it. It just wasn't worth it. It wasn't worth it. And that was like a pivotal point for me to really just focus on myself. And it's not as hard as it sounds. So let's get into this. Let's get into the abstinence. So a lot of women I hear be like, oh my gosh, I don't see how y'all do it. I don't see how y'all can go without pain, this and that. Honey, it's not hard. Now, it's like anything else, and y'all know I'm a wellness coach, right? Fitness is my thing. You can train your body to pretty much do anything, right? When it comes to eating and nutrition, right? You can train your body to start eating foods that you once thought you wouldn't touch with a 10-foot pole. And you can also cut out foods you thought you could never live without, right? We've cut out liquor before. You've cut out all types of things. Of course, yes, at the beginning you have cravings, right? You may have withdrawals. You may have urges. Yes, that's natural. But after a while, after you wean yourself off of whatever it is that you engage in and indulge in, it becomes easy. And then you eventually look back and be like, I used to eat that all the time, and I can't believe I did, right? It's just like a toxic relationship. Once you finally detach yourself from that person you thought you would never live without, you look back a year later like, what was I even on, right? It's a process. And the first maybe 1 to 3 months is probably the toughest. I'll be honest, like it was a little, I felt urges, right? And our bodies, our bodies sometimes want what they want, but I never gave in. I just had my toys, honey, and I was cool. I was pleased. And once you get past that, once you get over that hump, honey, you will look at men like, what's your purpose? What is your purpose? Because once you can get over that sexual desire for men, you are empowered in such a way, honey. Because a lot of you guys are putting yourselves in situations where you got a sneaky link, right? And literally the only time you guys meet is after midnight. You pack your spend the night bag, he come over, or you go over there, and then you leave in the morning. Like, girl, ain't no way I'm about to be giving up my goodies, my honey pot to no man. And I can't even see him in public, and we don't even see each other before sundown. Like, you're not getting anything out of it. Maybe you getting a little something here. Maybe you getting some dinner in the morning, some Waffle House. Girl, please. Ain't no way. Ain't no way. And once you start to realize your worth, you will stop shortchanging yourself and giving away the most valuable parts of you. And not just the punani itself, but the energy exchange, right? Not to mention all the other risks that comes along with sex, sexually transmitted diseases, because people out here nasty doing it with everybody, pregnancy and things of that nature. That's a whole nother conversation. So it was just all around, it just made logical sense for me to just completely go abstinent, right? Because I wasn't in a relationship, I was single, and like I said, I'm not a sneaky link person. So even if I, have somebody I'm talking to, and I actually had somebody I was talking to at the time, but we completely stopped having sex as well, because I didn't really I saw more for myself. And this is an awesome person. We still keep in touch, all of that. But I'm just a person, I prioritize me, and things just it wasn't aligned in a way where I felt like it was passionate enough for me to be doing it at that point. So yeah, it's not as hard as you think it is, ladies. Give yourself 2-3 months. You'll be doing this like it's a piece of cake. So this is the longest abstinence stint I actually had. Like I said, it was 7 months. I actually did a 6-month stint years ago when I lived overseas. And yeah, like I said, I was fine. I had my toys. So that's when it came to the physical part, I was completely fine after that period. So like I said, at that point, it's like when men come up to me like, what can you offer? Because I don't want to have sex with you. I'm not moved by that at all. And you could be fine as I don't know what. You could look like Genuine, and it's like, oh yeah, you cute to look at, cool. And I was a person, like, I'm all about queen treatment. So once you actually reclaim your power and stop giving up the kitty, oh my gosh, you up here. Like, you call the shots in general, because we know men are sexual beings. We're all sexual beings, but they're primed, and men are animalistic when it comes to sex. They want sex. That's just men. So you just take back control when you're in a place of celibacy and abstinence, right? And a guy really wants to pursue you, right? You don't fold, and you don't bend, and you don't feel like you have to use sex as a transaction for things. You can easily walk away, right? But anyways, let me get back to the point. So like I said, December 2022 or December 2020 is when I decided, hey, I'm done having sex. Boom. So January rolls around. I'm cutting off ties with booze and guys like that. On a serious note, because I think I maybe, we still hang out, go bowling, whatever, like that maybe. But I really wasn't even doing a whole lot of that, because I was in such a place of healing. Healing was my priority. Like I mentioned, I had gotten out of a very toxic 5-year relationship. No shade to him. This is not a bashing video, because we were like this, and if anybody knows, they know. We were super tight, but it was no longer a situation that was serving me. It honestly wasn't serving me for a very long time. But like I said, we met when I was 22, because this was about a 5-6 year ordeal, and at the time I was 27, 28, if I'm doing my math right. I was 28. And I knew I was being called for more, and a lot of times we get stuck in these situations where we're there for comfort, right? And we are humans, right? So we go with what we know. We love our comfort zone. And this was like my best friend. We were together every day. We went through so many like traumatic events together, both happy and sad. So this was like my road dog. So it was tough, and I went through a very dark period, very, very dark period of depression when I went through my healing journey. Because a lot of us have the misconception that a healing journey is just supposed to be laughs, Hallmark cards, smiles, and oh my gosh, rainbows and butterflies. And that's not it at all. A healing journey is feeling through all of the emotions, trauma, and pain, and not ignoring it. Most people, when they go through a traumatic breakup, they feel that void of where that person was with external forces, circumstances, or people. Like, you start to drink, right, to replace that person, or you start to go out and club all the time, or maybe you start dating again because now you need to fill that void and that time gap, and now you need something to fill your attention. Or you fill it with eating, right? Emotional eating. Some people fill it with positive fillers, or it's like a vacuum effect. So for me, like personally, a lot of people go to the gym, right? That becomes their safe haven. That becomes their time for them specifically to surrender themselves and just focus on themselves. So obviously I've been a workout junkie, right? So the gym was also a safe place for me. So that was one of the ways that I indulged in, activities to allow me to heal. And like I said, 2021, my physique was the best it had ever been. And like I said, it's because I distanced myself from all of the distractions in the form of sex, men, which allowed me to funnel my emotions into, well, Monica, let's heal this. Because I knew there was so much out there for me in every regard. And I knew there was love and so much splendor out there for me that I didn't want to bring that baggage and the damage from my past situation into a new situation, because it's not fair to the next man. The next man should not have to pay the price that the previous man caused damage to. So I was like, you know what? Yeah, we about to heal. So January rolled around. I signed up for a course, which is called MBA, where I had a spiritual coach. and she focused on healing traumas, both in childhood, adulthood, and stepping into new versions of yourself. It's called Manifestation Babe Academy by Catherine Zenkina. A lot of you guys have probably seen her on Instagram. She's very big in the manifestation space, and I have been following her for a long time, and I was like, this is the perfect time for me to, sign up for this program, because I'm trying to release a lot of things. I'm trying to open up space in my life so I can welcome new things, because you can't welcome new blessings into your life until you clean out and take inventory of what's already there and start cleaning stuff out. You got to make room for it. So I was like, this is perfect. So I made the investment, and it was by far the best investment I could have made. That was one of two big investments that I made into coaches during the beginning of 2021, and I don't regret either one of them. I would do them all over again, because they were both, the ROI on both was like through the roof. It was worth it plus some. So signed up for that 4-month program, and I didn't even get through the whole thing. I'm now actually in 2022 going back through it, because I didn't even get through the whole entire 16-week program, because my life just started exponentially like elevating halfway through the program. It was amazing. So in January, I signed up for that spiritual coach, and the enlightenment and the awakening that I was having was crazy. I literally sat with myself, and I just focused on LaMonica. Like, it was very dark. It was very uncomfortable. There was a period of time where I spent like a week or two in my apartment and didn't leave at all. It was a lot of crying. It was a lot of sad music. It was a lot of prayer. It was a lot of meditation. It was a lot of recollection and releasing. All right, I had to feel through everything. All right, I couldn't just ignore it. But I'm telling you, that healing, that program allowed me to experience and surrender myself to so much that I came out on the other side, oh my gosh, a whole new person. So I remember because one of the requirements for the program is when you start, I think it was like early February, I'll say, actually, is when I started the program. Because I remember on Valentine's Day, February 14th, I did the beginning video, because she requires you to make a video recording yourself talking about where you currently are, like relationship-wise, financial-wise, business-wise, like location-wise. Maybe you want to move to a new city and you're just unhappy with where you are. And then you talk about what you want to manifest by the end of the program. And then at the end of the program, you go back and look at it, and whoever has the greatest, most amazing transformation wins a prize or something like that. So I actually might even include the clip, because everything I talked about, I ended up like manifesting. It was crazy. So that was like early February, and like I said, my life was changing before my eyes. And one of the biggest transformations, or one of the biggest pivotal points of 2021, was me leaving my corporate 9-to-5 job. I was in a 6-figure position with a corporate or Fortune 500 company as a business executive, and I left because I wasn't feeling aligned. I was very stressed out, a lot of anxiety. I was being micromanaged. It was a pretty cool position, but like I said, it was just a lot of dynamics that wasn't sitting right with me. And then I knew that it was time for me to fully dedicate myself to my business, right? Because what I did for a living at the time, I was a business executive. So what I did was I rode around, town all day long, and walked into businesses and talked to business owners every day. If you own a restaurant, you own a repair shop, you own a clothing store, you own whatever it is, I will walk in, find the person who makes the decisions, talk to them, and sell them the product, right? Which everybody can't do that job. First of all, sales ain't cut out for everybody. Number two, because there's not a lot of women in the sales positions, and there's not a lot of minority women look like me in successful sales roles. So I was an anomaly, but I liked the job. It was actually cool. I had a lot of autonomy compared to most people. I kind of made my own schedule. I didn't have to go into the office. I had a work phone. I just rode around in my Benz all day talking to people, and selling products. But I'm like, after a while, I am going around talking to business owners, selling them products all day, every day. Why couldn't I just do this for myself in my business and make exponentially more money doing something that I actually enjoy? And once I started putting two and two together and realizing how much potential I had, if I could take the 40 hours a week that I'm putting into this company and put it into my business, I could be making the same, if not double, triple, quadruple. And I was like, it's time for me to leave. And I was thinking this for months and months and months at a time. And you know how we hear these, we get the noises, we get the distractions, we get the friends, we get the family. Girl, you better not walk away from that position. Girl, it's a good position. Or why would you do that? You got bills to pay. Bills don't stop. And at this point, I had a luxury car and I had a luxury apartment. So, you know, I wasn't just jumping at the chance to leave. Obviously, I had really good benefits as well. So part of me was like, girl, it was just one of those, you know, back and forth. Like, I want to leave, I should leave. And then I wake up the next day like, no, you're fine. But eventually, I end up going on COVID leave, right? Because this was at the time where COVID was still like the big thing. And if you had COVID, you had to quarantine for 2 weeks. All right. So I think I ended up getting COVID. Maybe not. But I told them I had COVID. And I took like a COVID administrative leave for 2 weeks, which gave me 2 weeks to what? Focus on me, get through the program, go through the modules and the material, really focus, pray, meditate, ask for, you know, to receive the messages and downloads that I need to see. Was this the right decision for me to make at the time? Was it something I needed to wait on? Was this just me being apprehensive? Was it my ego talking to me? And those 2 weeks were so unmatched. I needed that. And at the end of that 2 weeks, instead of going back to work, I put in my resignation form. And this was like at the end of March of last year, right at the tip of April. So it was about a year ago. And I literally put my resignation in and I left thanks to the program and me having the coach to know that my spirit was being called for something greater. Otherwise, I could have stayed in that position, still been miserable right now. I wasn't really making a whole lot of money because I was commission based, and I was so emotionally distraught coming out of the relationship. Sorry guys, outside it's gnats. Coming out of that relationship, I would find myself at work sometimes. I'm riding around in the car, you know, and I would just bust out in tears at random moments because a song would come on, or because I would think of a memory from, you know, my past relationship, and it was hindering me from working. And then at that point, I would just get so distraught that I would just go home, lay down, and just completely finish my day, right? Which was affecting my money. So I wasn't really making the money that I could have been making. So I was like, this is replaceable at this point. You know, my manager's calling me, hey, did you set this meeting? Did you follow up with this person? Hey, we got to close these sales. It was just becoming very overwhelming for me. And I didn't like that. I feel like I need to be doing something I'm passionate about, something that I can be creatively, I can produce results in something that is aligned with me. I'm not one of those people who are going to wake up and go to a job that they hate every day, because I know what's possible. Like, this world is full of abundance. Like, you can do exactly what you want to do. We put ourselves in these boxes because this is what we've heard, and society has forced us and conditioned us to believe that we have to work this job to pay this bills and slave to do. No baby. No baby. I'm fully equipped to take care of myself and build a multi-million-dollar business, 6-figure, 7-figure, 8-figure. And that's exactly what I did. Period. And it took for me to take that leap of faith to really propel myself forward. And one thing that I wholeheartedly believe is, when you step out on faith, when God puts it out there for you and you say, hey, I can't see this next step, but I'm gonna go ahead and take it, and you do, God is going to make sure you are rewarded handsomely. And that's exactly what happened. So I left that job, and then I went on like a little, since I was finally free from the shackles of corporate 9 to 5, I went on a little tour. So I traveled a little bit. I had went to Houston like a month prior, and then I ended up going to Miami to visit a friend, and then I went to Atlanta, which at this point my ex was in Atlanta, and I went down there, visited him. I think I stayed with him for a weekend. We kicked it or whatever. So like I said, at this point we were still kind of like communicating, and the feelings were still there. So he took care of me that weekend. It was cool. I came back. And yeah. And at that point, I think we kind of had got into it or something. And I was just like, you know what? Let's just end it. Let's just stop communicating, because we always try to hold on, and it's not serving either of us. All right, I know you talking to who you talking to. I'm talking to who I'm talking to, doing whatever I'm doing. Let's just stop. I got tired of the back and forth. Because I'm not going to get into too much detail about the relationship, but it was very, very, it was not a lot of consistency. So there was periods of time where we went like 12 months, literally. 1 month we'd be together, the next month we'd be broken up. Then we get back together for a month, broke up the next month. And that went on for like a year. That was back in 2019. Like, it was very toxic. It was very toxic. I would not advise. I would not recommend. 0 stars. So that's the type of situation it was. And granted, like I said, we were still best friends. We loved each other, and I'm not gonna put it all on him, but it wasn't a relationship either of us should have been in. And I'm gonna leave it at that. But I decided to just completely dead it, because my life was, like I said, it was on the upward spiral. I had just left my job, so I was feeling better. The stress was relieved, and it was a weight off my shoulder. I didn't have the emotional, I wasn't on an emotional roller coaster with nobody, relationship wise, which was amazing. I was working out, I was looking good, I was cooking, meal prepping. I had, like I said, my nice car, my nice apartment. That was my safe space. I love that apartment. Oh, I love that apartment. But yes, I'm single, I'm beautiful, traveling. I'm living my best life. So I'm like, boy, we're not gonna do this. Let's just walk away. It's no bad blood. I wish you the best. Take care of whoever you talking to, whoever you in a relationship with, whatever you got going on. And I left it at that. I peaced out. So, after that, right, you see how me distancing myself from the noise allowed me to continue to double down on working on myself, right? So at this point, it's about April going into May. So literally about a year ago, because at the time of this video is May 4th, 2022. I decided, okay, boom, I got a little bit of money, because I liquidated, I think, my 401k at the time, and, I took a little break from traveling. I just got back from Atlanta, and I'm like, okay, now it's time for me to really get down to nitty gritty and get my business where it needs to be, right? So I'm accumulating and bringing in a steady stream of income per month. So now I started looking at business coaches, and there was a specific business coach that I had been following her for a while, and I knew from the get-go I was going with her. So as soon as the decision, I was like, yes, it's time. I hit our team up. We got on a call, talked, and they got on the sales call. And before, the sales call, I already knew I was sold. Like, girl, you don't even got to take me through the spiel. Take my money here. That's how committed I was. Because I'm an advocate. I'm a full believer in investing in yourself. Investing in yourself. Without no investment, honey, there is no return. So I was ready for it. And it was several $1,000s. So it was a nice investment. But I knew in order to do that, in order to elevate and scale, I had to do it. And truth be told, I made the money back in a month after training with her. So it was definitely a good decision, and I don't regret it at all. So if you want more information on who she is, just reach out to me, and I will be happy to share that information. So I ended up, my business started booming, my roster doubled, tripled. So like I said, my roster, it tripled at this point, and I quadrupled my income from what I was making previously at my job. And I was doing what I loved. So my life was it was so grand. It was beautiful. I'm like, why didn't I do this a long time ago? But life is divine. Divine timing is a real thing, and you are always where you need to be in the moment. So now my finances are exponentially, you know, growing. And at this point in time as well, around like April, May-ish, I think I decided, there goes that toad, y'all. It's a little frog that be over here, and he scares the mess out of me. Anywho. Anywho, so at this point, I started saying, hey, okay, it's time for me to move, right? I'm single, I'm making money, I can work remotely, I don't have to answer to anybody. It's time for me to finally move, because that's, y'all know I'm a travel junkie. I was like, I'm ready to move to a beach city to continue my spiritual journey. I was being called to water. I'm like, boom, I'm moving to Florida, or do I want to move to Dallas, or where do I want to move? So that's part of the reason why I was going on the tour. I was going on the tour to all the different cities. So after I got back from Atlanta, I ended up saying, hey, you know what? I'm gonna go to Tampa, because I think I want to go to Florida. I think I want to move to Florida. So I put that on my to-do list, and I thought about it. I was like, you know what? Boom, I want to visit my cousin who lives in Charlotte, which, as you guys know, that's where I currently live. Relocated to Charlotte, but I had never been to Charlotte at all at this point. This was my first time going, and I was like, okay, well, Charlotte is a hop, skip, and a jump from Tampa. So maybe what I'll do is I'll go to Tampa, but I'll fly to Charlotte first for the weekend and then go, to make it a 2-for-1 trip. So that's what I did. So I was like, hey, cuz, you know, I hit her up, and I was like, you know what, I'm gonna come out to Charlotte. And she was like, yeah, you can stay with me. Boom. Perfect. So I had somewhere to stay. We could hang out. Everything was good. Sorry, if y'all see me keep looking over here, that's because that frog. I might take it in the house. Anywho. So back to what I was saying. So I flew to Charlotte. Like I said, this is my first time being here. I don't know anybody outside of my cousin. And I think Mother's Day was the day prior. I took my mom out to Tucker Steakhouse. We had a good time. Took her out for Mother's Day. So when I landed, I think I was there. Yeah, when I got to Charlotte the next day, it was like Mother's Day or the day before, something like that. And, you know, I'm working at my cousin's place. You know, I'm all settled in. I'm working, getting some stuff done. It's later on in the afternoon. It's like a Sunday. It's Mother's Day. And she's at work. So after, you know, I get through everything, it's like 3 o'clock. Ooh, y'all. It's like 3 o'clock. I'm sorry. So I decide to Uber to her job, right? Y'all, hold on, I gotta go. This motherfucking toad. All right, guys, I am back. Yes, it is a brand new day. It was one of those situations where I was like, hey, you can have this space, frog, and I will be back tomorrow, because we not about to play them games. I'm a city girl, y'all. I'm sorry. All right, let's pick up where we left off yesterday. All right, so I Ubered to my cousin's job, and yeah, it's a brunch party going on, little day party. So, you know, I ordered me some steak and eggs. I get me a little table, got me some hookah, got me some drinks, and I'm just chilling, having a good time, right? She's coming over in between customers, you know, we chitting, chatting, talking. And I'm just minding my business, right? Vibing on Snapchat. You know how we do. Thinking we cute. Having a good old time. And that's the day that I actually met the love of my life. My guy, Kay, who you guys know so well at this point. But you know, it was a series of events that couldn't have been orchestrated by us. It was so synchronized, and it was so much alignment and so much divinity in every interaction that we had, starting at that point, right? So I'm there by myself. Like I said, it's Mother's Day. We chilling. It's a good time. I'm at my table. And then all of a sudden, you know, he walks in or whatever. I had been there for a little bit. He walks in and he's by himself, right? It's Mother's Day. And one thing that is very unique about Kay specifically is on Mother's Day, or this particular Mother's Day, he was wanting to get his mind off of things, just relax, just kind of be by himself, you know, and celebrate his mother, because his mother actually passed some years back. So he's by himself. He wasn't with any friends, any girls or nothing. He was just there you know, happened to come there on a whim. You know, he comes in, and I wasn't really tripping off him because, you know, you see somebody walk in and everybody look at the door and then you go about your business. So it's one of those situations. But it just so happens he was seated, his little section was like right next to mine. So after a while, you know, I'm having a good time. Like I said, my cousin is doing her rounds. She'll come over for a little bit, sit down, and we'll chit chat. And then she walked away, and all of a sudden I noticed he walked up to me and he's like, hey, how you doing? I just wanted to speak. I see you over here, you know, enjoying your food by yourself. I just want you to know that you're invited over to my table if you want some company, or, you know, something along those lines. And you know me, I'm super sweet. I was like, oh, well, thank you so much, I appreciate that. You know, I'm gonna just hang out over here for a little bit, and then I might take you up on your offer later, or something. I said something like that. I don't know verbatim, but you know, so y'all know I don't be pressed. I be minding my business. I be minding my business. I'm not one of them girls who need like a free section and all that. I does my thing. I do my own thing. So anyways, I go back to eating my steak and eggs, having a good old time. And I think probably about half an hour passed or so, and he was still over there, you know, drinking his mimosas and all of that. So eventually I get up and I just go ahead and walk over, and I'm like, hey, what's going on? You know, what brings you here today? And one thing led to another. We start to chit chat, start getting to know each other, and I sit down in his section, and we're just enjoying each other's company. Nothing too crazy, you know. Talking about, you know, I'm from St. Louis, this and that, blah 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 blah. And lo and behold, we finally get to a point where the club is closing and it's time to go to the after party spot, because we have just been hitting it off. And I end up going, everybody ended up going to the after party spot, even my cousin, she was off work. So I actually rode with him to the after party spot, met up with my cousin and her friend, her crew, and we just hung out. You know, we all just hung out, had a good time, laughed, hee hee, ha ha, and drank, took shots. It was a good time. And you know, I never thought that it would lead to anything, right? Because I'm like, you know what, I leave Charlotte tomorrow. This is not about to be a big thing. Like, this was just a little, you know, one of those situations where you meet somebody, y'all have a good time, and maybe you text them later on, a couple weeks later or something like that, if you do that. So I was like, I'll be gone tomorrow. I'm not gonna reach out to this dude. Even though he was cute, he was a good time, but it wasn't, like I said, I was not in a place where I was interested in men, interested in dating or pursuing anything. So it never like clicked in my mind like, oh, this is gonna be something I'm entertaining. But anyways, he gave me his number, because at the time I wasn't giving my number out, but I'll take your number so I can decide whether or not I want to do anything with it. So he ended up leaving that night, going to do his thing, and you know, we stayed out, me and my cousin stayed out all night, party, had a grand old time. And yeah, the next day we chilling at her house, and I noticed, like, she was talking to her boyfriend kind of, he's in and out of town a lot. So he happened to be in town. I'm like, in the back of my head, I'm thinking she wants to go hang out with her boyfriend, but she doesn't want to do it because I'm here, so she don't want to blow me off. But she's like, no girl, you fine, I'm not about to go see him, we about to hang out, you in Charlotte. I'm like, girl, go chill with your boo while he here and in town. Go chill with your man. I will just text the guy that I met yesterday and maybe see if maybe he wants to do something, grab something to eat, you know, just so she wouldn't feel bad, because I would have been fine just doing my own little thing. So she was like, okay. So I was like, all right. So I reached out to him, texted him, and I was like, hey, it's LaMonica from yesterday. Just reaching out to see, you know, if you wanted to grab a bite to eat. It's my last day in town before I leave. And he was so excited. He probably won't admit this, but he told me later on that he had thought he had my number, so he was planning on, I guess, reaching out to me at some point in time that night or the next day, and then realized, sorry guys, I'm outside and they're doing construction. And he realized he didn't have my number, so he started panicking. He was reaching out to everybody who was with us the night before, the party promoter, everybody, like, do you know this girl, like, do you have her contact? And nobody had my contact, right? So it was so funny when he told me that later on. But yeah, I reached out to him. He was like, yeah, you know, we can do XYZ, this and that. And I'm like, okay, cool. So we ended up linking up later on that night, and you know, having a good time. Got into some very deep spiritual conversations. Not a lot of surface level talking at all. It was very synchronized. And one day I might tell the story of all the synchronicities that y'all be like, wow, that's crazy. But it was so divine. And I was leaving early the next morning. I think I had to be at the airport like 6 a.m. So yeah, we hung out that night, had a great time, and we knew that, oh, okay, well, maybe something to this. But I flew to Tampa the next day, and when I say this man was so persistent, he was like, we planned a whole trip to the Bahamas the next day, booked the plane tickets, booked the accommodations, everything. I'm talking about like a day or two later. And that's my love language, baby. I'm all about action. And you talking about taking trips? Oh, let's go. So we did that. Then I flew back to St. Louis, and literally when I flew back to St. Louis, like, this is about a couple days later, like a week after we had met, he flew to St. Louis, stayed with me for a couple days, and then we went on this whole back and forth. I was going to Charlotte 1 month, he was coming to St. Louis 1 month. Like, we were just hanging out and like traveling to see each other, which was the craziest thing. So yeah, at this point we were just, you know, dating, getting to know each other. I eventually met his kids. He wanted me to meet his kids. He introduced me to them, which I thought was very big. I'm like, wow, you're introducing me to your children? That's a big deal. So it was just constant signs like, this man is very serious. You know, because I was even shocked when he said he wanted me to meet his kids. I was like, shit, am I even ready for that? My cousin was like, don't meet his kids. Not my cousin, my little cousin. She was like, in St. Louis, she was like, the girl, don't meet his kids. That's because like I seriously wasn't really taking anything extremely serious, right? At this point, still celibate, or still abstinent. And yeah, but he was just he was very committed from the get-go, and he showed it. Like, his words and his actions aligned, which, ladies, is a big sign. So I say all that to say this: I'm in the best relationship that I've ever been in my life with the greatest man that I've ever met, and obviously I'm here in Charlotte. Here, he eventually told me to move in with him, and this was when I was living overseas at the time. I was bouncing around from Panama to Costa Rica, which I'll get into that in a second as well. But he was like, yeah, you need to, you know, I'm gonna clear out some space. Like, you bouncing back and forth from St. Louis to Costa Rica to Latin America, this and that. You can use my space as like an in-between, like, intermittent spot. And which he was really saying, like, you can kind of have a little space to move in. And for weeks and months he was saying this, and I would just like blow it off and just and in my head I'm like, boy, I'm not moving in with you. Or whatever. But he was very adamant about it. Every time he brought it up, he was like, yeah, I'm serious. And then eventually he cleared out one of his whole walk-in closets in his house, and he gave me a little tour of it in FaceTime. He was like, yeah, I cleared all this out for you. It's ready for you when you are. And I'm like, okay. So eventually I took him up on his offer when I finally came back to the States. And yeah, you know, things were just so divine. And coming out of the situation that I had ended like the year prior, and coming out of the season of singleness, it was crazy, because it was like night and day, the situation I was in previously and what I was able to attract when I just detached from. There's so much power in detachment, guys. When you force something, when you're trying to force these relationships, force a marriage with someone, force love, force friendship, force anything, you're pushing it further away. I was completely detached from men. I was completely detached from love, not in a way where I was saying, oh, I hate men, oh this. I was just like, the love is out there. And I'll even show you guys my notebook. I'll put it in a clip. I actually wrote out verbatim in words saying, I attract the man of my dreams, a supportive, handsome, charismatic, financially stable man that can sexually please me. Like, I wrote it to a T. This was all stuff that I was manifesting, but I had detached myself from it. That's the key. A lot of us are harping on things. Like, we ask for it and then we're like, oh my gosh, I gotta get it. Or did you hear me, Lord? Did you hear me? I got it. I just put it out there in the universe, right? Wrote it down, made it plain, like it says in the Bible, and I literally released control from it and let the universe do its thing. And it literally led me to this man wrapped in a bow. Wasn't even expecting it. Like I said, I had never been to Charlotte. I started to consider it as a place to move, as one of my relocation places afterwards, but I had never been to the place. I didn't know anybody. I wasn't expecting to meet anybody, especially anyone serious. And here we are. Following year, I moved in, or actually I moved in back at the end of 2021. Relocated to Charlotte. So you can see as the story unfolds, like, things were beginning to just take place in such a beautiful way in my life. And this was all with stepping out on faith, detaching, just living my best life. Because it's when you're not looking for things, is when they appear in the most surprising ways, right? They really do. So, like, my business was booming, my roster was doubling and tripling. I had a new love interest. Like, we ended up going on another trip. We went to Mexico together, had an awesome time. Both of our first times in Mexico. Sorry, y'all, I'm tongue-tied right now. And it was just amazing. Everything was just perfect. It was literally perfect. I loved his kids loved me, and now at this point, those are my babies. Those are my absolute hearts. And now we are expecting one of our own. And this was planned. I'm gonna link the actual tell-all story time of my pregnancy journey and how that came about. I'm gonna link that in the description below if you guys want to check that out. But it's only so much I can fit into one video. But yes, so getting into moving on from love to travel, which is probably one of my first loves. I love to travel. Before I chose a relocation destination here in the States, I had a goal that I had written down at the beginning of 2021, is that I wanted to leave corporate. I wanted to expand my business product line. I wanted to do all these different things. And one of the goals I had written down, it was about 7 goals. One of them was I wanted to take a 2 to 3 month sabbatical and leave the country. So I wanted to move out of the country for several months like I had before. Since I was already in the process of uprooting from St. Louis, right? I was like, hey, this is the perfect time to do it. I work for myself. I have time freedom. I don't have to answer to anyone. I'm not currently in a relationship because I wasn't at the time, because this was like late summer 2021. So we were still just dating. I was like, I don't have any kids. Like, why would I not do this? So once we got back from Mexico, I set it in stone. I said, in a month, I'm moving out of the country. I figured out where I wanted to go, which was Panama. Also, like I said, if you want the whole details of that video and how that came about, I'll link it in the description. But I ended up going to Panama City in Central America, Panama City, Panama. And I was there for a month. I loved it. It was beautiful. It was just the getaway that I needed to disconnect, to pour into myself, to experience the world, right? To get away. I'll also link the URL to my Travel Noir article where I was interviewed, and it'll tell you a little bit more about my escapades and my escapades and my experience while I was there. Nonetheless, it was just amazing. At that point in time, I was Airbnb-ing out my apartment in St. Louis, so it was making me money. Like, it was just perfect. But eventually, I ran into some issues with the apartment complex, and my lease was up, so I ended up having to move out. So I left Panama, went back to St. Louis, moved everything out, and then I think I might have went back to Charlotte, and then went to Costa Rica for about 2-3 weeks. So I was there for a little bit as well. Oh, beautiful. I might show y'all some clips if I can find them. Beautiful. Loved it. Oh my gosh, amazing. Loved it. Muy hermosa. So I was living my best life, y'all. I was living my best life. No care in the world, no restrictions. I was taking care of myself. I didn't have to depend on no man. I didn't have to depend on a job. I was literally taking care of myself from my own fruits, from my own skill set, from my own passions. You know, it was literally amazing. 2021 was an amazing year. I don't think I can express this enough. 2021 was an amazing year for me. So after I left Costa Rica, I basically settled down and moved to Charlotte. At that point, a couple weeks later, we made it official. So we're officially exclusively dating at this point. It's like, because actually I came back for my birthday, which is the end of October, October 28th, and he did this big like celebration for me. He took me to Eddie V's steakhouse, which was really, really nice steakhouse, if you guys don't know. He also put together a little get together at Fahrenheit, which is this rooftop restaurant. He invited like my cousin, his brother and sister, who I met. It was so cute. Had a really nice time. It was just awesome. It was really awesome. He got me this amazing little gift that it was so sweet. I'll show you guys. I'll tell you more about it one day. Very, very intimate gift. And it was just really, really cute. So about a little less than a month after that, by this time I'm officially moved in. We decided to make it official, so we're officially exclusively dating. And then like a month later, here I am. I got pregnant, which was planned because we had planned it for a while prior. And that's a video I'll probably do for another day, because I have beliefs and he has beliefs, and we share the same beliefs in regards to procreation and longevity, legacy, things of that nature. But yeah, everything was aligned. It was divine. Everything up until this point, now that it's about 7 months later, is golden. I'm healthy, happy, thriving. The baby is healthy and happy. We'll be here at the end of August, and it's just amazing. It's amazing, y'all. Actually, our anniversary is this weekend, so we're celebrating a 1-year anniversary. But yeah, it was just, I'm telling y'all, 2021 was the year. It was my breakout year. It was like everything that could have happened did happen in the most positive, beautiful way. And what's crazy about it is I said year 28 was going to be the best year of my life, and it for sure was. But like I said, a lot of it was because I made conscious decisions to focus on LaMonica and believe in LaMonica and distance myself. A lot of us as women were dependent on men in some regard. We feel like we have to have a man, whether it's for finances or whether we just feel like we need partnership, we need camaraderie, we need the companionship. Girl, you don't need no damn man. You can be single for a while. You'll be fine. You will be fine. And like I said at the beginning, like the more you dive into who you are, get to know who you are, and start to pour into yourself and really nurture and develop who you are going to attract better and better and higher caliber men, because you're constantly working on yourself. You attract what you are. right? So if you down here chasing these little knuckleheads, right, the little ones in the club throwing money, got the nice car that he renting, and got all the little girls he be talking to, like, that's what you're going to attract, because you're so busy focused on being the one with one of these little bums, right, giving it up to him whole time he messing with Susie, Patricia, Casey, everybody. Like, that's time you could have put into yourself for 6 months, a year, 2 years, however long it is. And now when you're ready to actually start getting back into the dating pool, now your value is all the way up here versus down here when you were chasing and doing all of that and wanting to be chose. You want to be a pygmy. And it just, you will be rewarded, guys. I'm telling you, it is so worth it. So there's a difference between causation and correlation. And I feel like I need to say this because it's hard for me to actually articulate, because I'm not necessarily saying that being abstinent is what led to me having this amazing year, because it was a lot of factors and variables, but they were correlated. So me having this huge transformation year is related to me being abstinent and just completely focusing on me and cutting out romantic relationships with men. So like I said, it may not be the cause of it, but it is correlated. Some will argue maybe that was maybe it was the cause, but like I said, I think it was a multitude of things. Spiritually, like I said, I invested in a spiritual coach so I could focus on releasing and healing and attracting. I hired a business coach, right, that allowed me to scale my business so I could travel and I could consider moving out of St. Louis, which led me to Charlotte, which led me to meeting Kay, which led us to, it was just so many divine things that just took place that were out of my control. It was definitely the higher source manifesting and co-creating all of this along with me and vice versa. But I'm trying to make sure I'm not missing anything, because this year was just so amazing. I'm probably even missing something. Probably missing something because my products, my physical product line did very, very well last year, so I can't forget that. My booty bands, my sweat belts, sweat creams, all of that did very, very well, especially during the summertime. So it was just overall, I elevated and I expanded. It was a year of expansion for me. That's a very good word. It's a year of expansion for LaMonica. And this is very fitting. Very, very fitting, right? Her greatest power is believing in herself, right? And I feel like that is what allowed me to have such an amazing 2021. But with that being said, I know this was longer than, well, I'm not gonna say it's longer than it needs to be, because I feel like I said exactly what I needed to say. But my hopes is that this spoke to someone. And like I mentioned before, if you're considering celibacy, which is refraining from sexual activity until marriage, or maybe not until marriage, maybe you just want to be abstinent until you find the one, until you find someone you're comfortable with, until, you know, whatever that case may be, and you want to start an abstinence journey to just literally focus on yourself, close your legs and open up your soul, then I would 5-star 10 out of 10 recommend. For sure, especially if you're in your 20s, you're in your 30s, hell, if you're in your 40s, 50s, yes, I recommend it. You will, like I said, you will elevate yourself, so you'll start to attract better. You'll have so much peace, right? If you find yourself and you're in a situationship, you're in an on or off situation, your guy is cheating, you trying to win some little dude over, you chasing and pursuing him more than he's pursuing you. You're constantly like in this whirlwind of emotions. You feel undervalued. You're just not happy in regards to, you know, your job, your business. You know, you're not giving it your all because the relationship is distracting you, or you find yourself physically going through things because you dealing with someone, right? Let's take a step back. Look at the bigger picture. That knucklehead, he is not gonna be around in 5 years. God willing, especially if you're going through all that. We hope he ain't. All right, you need to be on the bigger and better things, and in order to do that, you have to become bigger and better. You have to become bigger and better. So with that being said, ladies, I hope this was a valuable video. I hope you enjoyed it. If you did, please, please, please hit the thumbs up, like button. Also hit subscribe for more videos like this, lifestyle videos, tell-all, story times, workout videos, wellness, mindset coaching. Please, 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 if you're actually looking for accountability and you want help in the mindset space, spiritual space, physical space, definitely reach out to me and book a free one-on-one consultation. It's about 10-15 minutes. We're literally just going to talk through your struggles and what roadblocks are holding you back and what your goals look like. Like I said, it's completely free. We'll meet on Zoom and you'll talk to me directly. Link is going to be in the description box. But I will let you guys go. I appreciate you being here. Like I said, you could have been anywhere virtually, but you decided to be here right now. For that, I love and appreciate you. You guys have an amazing rest of your day, and I will talk to you soon. Mwah.